Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to today's World of Warships video. Today we have the HMS Orion. Now, this will be another one of the low tier ships I've been going to do for you all. And this one is just great. In fact, at the end of the battle, when I show my build and everything, you'll see I've got quite a fair bit of XP on this ship. And it's because it's my new player training ship. So when a new player in the clan comes in, this is the ship I take down to train them, because it's fantastic. Not only is it fantastic, it allows you the time to be able to guide the new players around the battle and help them in the right direction. Now, you will notice that this is actually from the last patch 7.12, so the aircraft carriers are actually more powerful in this battle than they are in the current state. The current state of aircraft carriers at tier 4 is nowhere near as strong as what you're going to see in this video. So here I've taken actually one of the newer players of our clan into the battle with me and training him up in the Clemson. And as I say to you guys all the time, try not to leave tier 4 until you have a 10-point captain. So at the end of this, when we go through the build, we are going to go through a 10-point captain. Now you'll notice there also that one of our players on the other side of the map in the Turan has been spamming the chat. He's asking where the rest of the team is going, and it's a valid question. Where is the rest of the team going? They all seem to be heading over towards here. It's probably not the best idea to just totally come over to one side, but this is how the battle is unfolding. Now, the thing with the Orion is that she is relatively slow. She has a top speed of around 22 knots with glacial turn-in turrets. It is actually faster to turn the ship sometimes than turn the turrets. 343mm guns, which are pretty good, which means that your armor-piercing shells can overmatch 23mm of armor, so the nearest overmatch threshold for your armor-piercing is 19mm of armor, which is it's pretty good. I mean, down in the low tiers, it's not very high as it is the armor. So there's a bit of a skirmish up ahead. Kit is smoked up so he can break off a little bit too close to the enemy there, but it happens a lot with destroyers, and being the only destroyer in the game, you don't want to lose him too early. So I've loaded up armor piercing. In all Royal Navy battleships, you should start with armor piercing. That should be your first salvo, and the reason is that, as I say in all my other Royal Navy battleship commentaries, most people expect you to fire HE straight off the bat, and you catch so many people off guard when you use your armor piercing, because they're expecting you, as I said, to fire the HE, and especially at this tier, at tier 4, 5, you can absolutely annihilate light cruisers when they turn broadside to you, because they're expecting HE, although Royal Navy battleship HE is pretty good as it is. Now, we've lost one of our CVs already. I do not know how that happened, but he went down quite quickly. The enemy Izakazi over there has made a little bit of an error. He's overextended past his teammates. A lot of Japanese captains will do this. They will go down the side and they'll try to flank. Doesn't really work like that. I see the Yubari sitting there nice and broadside, and this is the power of the AP on any battleship. Any battleship that sees a light cruiser sitting broadside like that, stationary, is going to have an absolute field day. So instead of overextending too far, I decided to just reverse the ship. And the good thing about the Orion is that you can play this, you play her like an anchor. a lot of battleships you play like an anchor, where you're not actually sailing around too much, you're more in a controlled position. Now this Arkansas beta has hit the border, and as you know, or if you don't know, when you ride on the border, it throws off the aiming of your shells and makes it quite hard to hit. So there are a number of players that, and sometimes I do it if I'm running away, kiting away, and I'm outnumbered badly, I will hit the border deliberately. It'll slow your ship down, but it'll throw off the aim of the enemy ship, so it can be useful. Now one of the strengths of the Orion is the fact that she has the 343mm guns, which are some of the biggest guns of her tier, and when you load them with high explosive, you get the 1/4 penetration that all Royal Navy battleships get, and it can be quite damaging, not just in fire chance damage, which is very high, but also in penetration because of that 1/4 pen. So anything that turns away can be punished quite heavily if you can get the shot on target as it is. Now we're just sitting around here at the moment, just firing from inside our base. You know, Kit's out there, my destroyer's out there spotting, and he's just listening, and I'm saying, telling him that this is what I need you to do. You do that. And this is one of the things that we do. I think we actually do it quite well in our clan, is with our training of our newer players, we take them under our wing, we play with them. Tier 4 is a very good tier to learn the game. You still have the protected matchmaking, but you can get quite competitive games. There are a lot of people that come down. See, this guy here, the Arkansas beta, is obviously a beta tester. You can't get the Arkansas beta unless you're a beta tester, and he's flying his CBT flag, so he's probably played quite a number of games. Now, you don't need to move too far, as I was saying. And the one good thing about the Orion being relatively slow is that you don't have to put yourself into overextended positions, but you have great guns. You have some of the best firing range for your tier as well. And my advice is to use that. Get into a position where you can dominate, you can cover the cap or the caps, and you can use this great firepower. One of the greatest things about this ship is her firepower. Now, if we're going into weaknesses, the Orion may be able to fire off great penetration and high explosive rounds, but she also takes a lot of damage. One of the ship's greatest nemesis at the tier is actually the Wyoming. The Wyoming can penetrate the armor of the Orion even when she's pretty well angled, especially if you're angled to the rear instead of angled bow on. But if you angle to the rear in the Orion, you can get all your guns firing better and at a better angle than what you can if you are bow on, because of the way the ship is, the profile of the ship, the layout of the turrets. So she's a very good kiting battleship, if that's the way you like to play your battleships. She does take a lot of high explosive damage, as all Royal Navy battleships do. As I said, they may be able to dish out the high explosive damage, but they also take a lot. They're very thinly armoured. Now, we've moved up here, we've defended our base. All we've got to do is push off the enemy from where they are, and hopefully where all the enemy are south, there's a lot of our ships concentrated down there. So Kit and I are heading north. What we want to do is get into that cap circle. But then I give him an extra task, and that's to go and just, while you're heading up towards the cap circle, go and get rid of those CVs. And he happily obliges. You know. Sometimes when you're training the newer players, to let them off the leash and play how they want to play every now and then is actually a really good thing for their development, because letting a player play how they feel comfortable is a good way to teach them. So you let them play a little bit, and then you say, well, this is what I would have done. These are the game situations, mechanics that you can use, and that. And so you just mold it all together. And I think we're going to have a good lot of players in our clan coming through soon, and Kit's one of them, because of that. The way we come down, we've got some good teachers in our clan, and it's really, really helpful. Anyway, back to the Orion here. We have a dreadnought coming straight through the middle. Now, because he's bow on, that's why I'm firing high explosive, and you can see that the high explosive penetration here is actually doing quite a fair bit of damage. It's ignoring all his armor, it's ignoring the angle, and that's the best part about high explosive, and that's the best thing about the Royal Navy high explosive, is that it does that additional damage. Now, as you can see here, I'm being torpedoed by the Hosho, and this doesn't happen anymore. It would be one torpedo, and then he'd be able to fly around me and fire off another torpedo, and then same thing, he can launch up to 3 torpedoes, I believe. Now, as I said in the beginning, the reason I left that in is because the CVs were actually more powerful at this tier in the previous patch than they are now. They're just annoying now because they can constantly spam out planes. And you see 2 of them in almost every battle, but this is a battle with 2 CVs as well. Now, if you're wondering why I've left my engine damage here, the reason is because the Dreadnought over there also has very good high explosive shells. It might be a premium, but it is a Royal Navy battleship. And the last thing I want him to do is do what I'm doing to him. As you can see, it's barbecue season on his deck. And if he did the same thing to me, then my damage repair wouldn't be online. I'm not in any real threat, as you can see by my position. The only thing that could really come and get me is a CV, but Kit has dealt with one of those, and so the enemy aircraft carrier is no longer a threat there. Now, I'm angled enough, as you could hear, there was a bit of a bounce there. I believe it hit my frontal turret. The armor is quite thick on the front turrets, which is really handy, and I'm keeping this rearward angle. As I said, she can be a very good kiting battleship, as the rearward angle here allows you to fire off all your guns without exposing too much armor, and you can move around a little bit and angle a little bit more in between shots, which does help, but as you can see, it's just either hitting the armor and not penetrating, or it's just bouncing off. So I'm not too worried about the Dreadnought here, and we start another fire on him. I could switch to AP now, and that's what I do. I do switch to AP, and now I'll be able to hit him with a really solid broadside. So just making sure that you keep angled. An angled Orion against anything except really a Wyoming is quite a tough ship. Shots out. There's the Arsonist Award. There's the kill. It's a pretty good game. I was really happy with this game. Kit does get the CV at the end there, so we got 6 kills between us, which was really handy. And just using Tier 4 is also good to be able to practice switching between the armaments that you're going to use. In certain situations, my high explosive is good in this situation, and oh look, he's given a little bit more broadside, I can go to armor piercing. The more that you are able to switch around and use your ammunition effectively, the better off you're going to be. Like the more fun you're going to have, because the more damage you're going to do. Now, don't pay too much attention to the chat there. Our Turan was spamming the chat and saying relatively bad things to the enemy CV, and I just tell the enemy CV, sorry, that don't worry about it. You play the game, you learn the game, and it's not necessary to be silly like that. So Kit's in the cap there, and he's saying to me, should I finish capping? And I said, look, in most situations I would say yes, stay in there and cap, but I said, you're over there on your own, he's the last one. I said, there's enough of us, surely we can cap out if it comes to it. And I said, just go for it, just go for the kill. So he does, and it's not a bad game. The game ends pretty soon. We've got just over 102,000 damage, which is very good actually in a tier 4, and most of that was just down to the right use of ammunition. It did help, yes, that the Dreadnought didn't move, he just stayed on one line. It also helped that the Yubari didn't feel like moving either, and when you're kiting in a cruise like that and you're doing those sorts of things, you've got to pay attention to the minimap. I would love to make a video on paying attention to the minimap. I don't know how I would do it, but that's why you see my minimap is actually quite big. Alright, so let's go over the Orion and a 10-point build. As you can see, I have plenty of XP, but it's my training ship, so it's expected. Okay, premium consumables, we always run them, and then we're going to run main armaments mod 1 to protect our guns, and then damage control system mod 1 to stop the fires and the flooding. And the reason we want that is because it can get quite HE spammy down in these low tiers. Now my first is priority target. I always take priority target first. Expert marksman is a great captain skill to have on any battleship to get those guns turning faster. I've gone with the demolition expert just for a bit more high explosive fire chance. You don't need to take it. You could take superintendent or something like that, but I did that just to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, trollish. And then concealment expert, because when you do play tier 5, it is a handy skill to have. Get that concealment down just a little bit more. Adrenaline rush is a good skill to have, so that was the 10 points. So this is the extra 2 points I've got on this captain. Adrenaline rush, sorry, is great to have. Superintendent you could take if you suffer a lot of damage. Fire prevention is a great 4-point skill to have if you want to swap that out for your concealment, and because of that HE spam, it just makes the ship a little bit tankier. But otherwise, the Orion is it's a solid ship. It's a great ship. I really enjoy it, and it's a good ship to set you up for the line with the high explosive, the use of armor piercing first off the bat. So anyway guys, that's my Orion commentary. As I said, it's a fantastic ship. Thanks for joining me, and stay safe out there.